You're listening to the Neurocareers podcast with Dr. K, episode number 5. Dear listeners, today we continue our exploration of the careers in neuroscience and neurotechnology. I'm honored to introduce our guest, Professor Osvaldas Ruksenas, who is joining our international podcast from Vilnius University in Lithuania. Professor Ruksenas will share with you his experience of establishing a graduate neurobiology program. Welcome, Professor. Thank you for joining us. It is a great pleasure to have you on our podcast. Can you tell our listeners about yourself, introduce Vilnius University, and tell our listeners a couple of words about Lithuania? When talking to people, I noticed that not everybody knows about this beautiful country, its unique language, and about Vilnius University, one of the oldest universities in Europe.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you very much, Milena, for inviting to this podcast. Indeed, it's a great pleasure for me to join you because I can tell you that you are one of my first students, and it's very nice when students are working in such high positions as you are. So for teacher, it's really high pleasure. And it might be quite long talk to answer all your questions or topics to describe at least shortly. Let's start from introduction. What is Lithuania? So this is a very small country. Small means that we are less than 3 million. When I was in China, it was kind of joke when I told what we are. People laughed a very open way, and I accept it. It depends on scale. If you look on map, it's just small dot. Where is the small dot? This is Europe, first of all. If we talk about Europe, let's look to north, Scandinavia and Sweden, which is, ABBA, Volvo, etc. So next to Sweden is Baltic Sea, and across Baltic Sea, just in front, there is a small country, Lithuania. So that's what we are talking about. So that might be a helpful hint. Or on the other hand, it's next to Poland, next to Belarus, if we talk about geopolitical events, recent events. So this is more or less our location. Lithuania, as I told, it's very small, but it's not that unimportant. We are very strong in basketball, if you know. It's worldwide champions, etc. We are strong in sciences, lasers, for example, etc. We are quite active politically and scientifically and culturally by other all means.
Talking to people, I am often asked, what language do people speak in Lithuania? Can you tell our listeners about the language that is spoken in Lithuania, the language that is considered to be the most conservative in all existing Indo-European languages? It retains features of Proto-Indo-European language. I'm sure our listeners will appreciate this information.
Talking about language, so we have our own language, which is Lithuanian language. This is a very old language, and this is very complicated, I must say. I naturally respect foreigners who manage to learn this language because this is really a serious challenge. But yeah, it's nice that people handle this. As I told, it's an old language, but is very old, that it's used like tool to investigate development of our languages. So specialists in languages are coming to our university to learn Lithuanian language as a tool for further studies.
Can you introduce Vilnius University? Not many people heard about this university. However, this is a very old university. As far as I know, one of the oldest universities in Europe.
Talking about Vilnius University, where I'm working, Vilnius University is the oldest university in Lithuania and one of the oldest universities in Europe. It was established in 1579, so it has over 400 years already. and we are very proud with this number. Old age for university is good, as the same as for drinks. The longer you keep, stronger it becomes and better it becomes. Another number is related to 400s, that we are among 400 best world universities, and happy to say that this position we keep for the second year already, and we are the only Lithuanian university having such high ranking position. And if we zoom Vilnius University, it has 12 faculties actually, and it's comprehensive university, means covering all the scientific areas. But in this context, I think more important is that we have a life science center where there is our department, neurobiology and biophysics, and the neurobiology program, which is taught at Life Sciences Center, which is recently established structure. It's very modern structure. So our department is taking care on master program in neurobiology. And if I may say a few words about this programs, it started in 1996. So it has over 20 years already. And first students were accepted in 1997. And first graduates graduated in 2 years, exactly in 1999. So this is shortly in numbers how it happened that we have this program. I can tell you in Lithuania, we didn't have this program, although we had few well-known laboratories working in neurosciences, but it was problem how to grow up young people to attract to these labs. It happened so that in 1995, I was awarded a grant for East Europe scholars. Grant was established by United Kingdom government, and it covered expenses of my stay at Oxford University. That was very nice stay. There I made a lot of interesting things, and one of these things was long-lasting discussions with my supervisor, Professor Andrew Parker. And at some point, we come up to idea that, okay, you are here, you are interested in neurosciences, but you don't have this problem. Probably you might have young people interested in this area. Why not establish a neuroscience program at your university? I thought it's an interesting idea, and that's how it started. After coming back to Vilnius, I talked about this idea to our main administration of university. It was supported, and we started to develop this idea. And we wrote application for Tempus project, European Science Funding Agency. And we wrote ambitious project. Ambitious, I mean, when we were granted over 400,000 EQs. EQ is not existing currency, but it's currency which existed before euro in Europe. So it was a little bit more than a euro, but let's say 1-to-1. So it was close to 500,000 euros, let's say. And at that time, it was the largest project at university. So we got money for establishing this neuroscience program. And for this, we collected very nice and impressive collaborators. Number one, it was Oxford University, because this is where from idea came. And the next one was the Manchester University. It was Kuopio University in Finland and University from Toronto in Canada. These were universities which jointly worked on establishing our program. And it started. Luckily, as I told, we were granted. We had to do what we promised, and we developed the whole program, all courses. And initially, it was not exact, but something like clone of program in Oxford. And we tried to do our best to fit all requirements and quality of this program. And that's why we joined efforts from few institutions in Lithuania. Main institution was Vilnius University, because it's institution which accepted this program and established. But we cooperated with, at that time, it was Kaunas Medical Institute. Now it's the Lithuanian University of Medical Sciences. So anyway, it was interinstitutional project, and that's how it started. So now I'm lucky that it's still running. This is the only master program which is running in Lithuania, but I think that keeping in mind the relatively low number of citizens in Lithuania, it's enough to fit all needs of our country.
What is unique about the neuroscience program that you established at Vilnius University? What are its unique features?
One of the exceptional features of our program, I would say, is that we accept students from any field of background education. So historically, we have bachelors naturally from biological sciences. That's main source. But we have students who graduated in mathematics, in physics, and even in philosophy. And I tell everybody that our first philosophers were students who graduated defending bachelor thesis on Kant's philosophy, which is pretty far away from deep neurobiology, I would say. But these guys were very motivated, very strong, and they managed to go through whole study period. They graduated, and I'm very lucky that they continue to work in neurosciences further on. And at least one of them is very famous in neuro field. So, some overview.
Thank you very much, Oswald. Actually, you answered already several questions that I prepared. It's very interesting that the program can have people from various backgrounds, and this is exactly what we're talking about in our podcast. Everybody who is interested in brain science can find themselves in this field and combine it with the philosophy. There is a neurophilosophy, for example. People who are interested in psychology, they do neuropsychology. So there are so many various possibilities. You mentioned that you were trying to build this program according to the standards of the program at Oxford University. What are those main high standards that you were adhering to make this program of a very high standing?
Well, few moments I would like to stress. One is selection of courses. We start with basics, so to say, basics meaning neuroanatomy. It's compulsory course at first semester, and neurophysiology. So this is like alpha and omega for neuro, we think, at least we believe. Later on, we as a department, we feel that we are pretty strong in electrophysiology. So quite strong emphasis is in this direction. We have big course which is worth 10 credits. It's about bioelectrical phenomena, which is dedicated to analyze, to understand how these potentials, various potentials, how they develop, how they are generated, how they interact, etc., etc. To make it short, it's electrophysiology. But during last years, another strength of our department is experience and skills in EEG, electroencephalography. So we have quite strong emphasis on this technique, and students learn about backgrounds, basics of this technique, and they learn how to analyze data, because, well, we believe in usage of this data, which is, as we know, it's not very expensive and very informative, etc., etc. The next stage, we have some cognitive courses like sensory systems, perception, neurobiology of perception, neurochemistry, there is a strong course. What is important from early beginning, we introduced in our course laboratory animal science, which is now like must. Nobody talks about this, but at that time it was something new. Actually, it was just starting to grow up this course, and we made this course as compulsory course for neurobiology students. And what is interesting and kind of funny for me that for many years it was special course just for a few students, and from colleagues, especially from an administration, I heard from time to time comments that, do you really need this course? Because it's quite a niche course. But time changed, and what happened now? Now this course is I would say, most popular one. When it's announced, within few minutes it's taken. No empty positions for this course, because students from many different programs discovered that this course is very useful. And people from different backgrounds start using laboratory animals in their research. And for doing this, they need special education. So this is just one course, but in my eyes, it has interesting history. If we look back how it started. Coming back to special features of program, what I want to stress is practical side. Most of our courses have practical side like lab works or projects, which we have to perform. So this introduced to develop practical skill. In addition to this, we have quite a number of hours dedicated for seminars, for discussions. This we start from first semester, and well, this is my personal belief, but I have feedback from students that this is very important. The recent strength, I would say, of our program, 3 years ago, we made the decision to present our program in English language. That wasn't that easy, I must say. We had very vivid discussions with colleagues about this. But finally, it was decided that, okay, emotions are emotions, but reality is that we switch to English language. And yeah, this is new period in our life, because this is not native language for teachers, first of all. But this is a challenge, I must say. But this is positive challenge, because that's something which helps you to develop. And now every year we have foreign students from different countries, from Turkey, from India, from Russia, from US, even from Latvia. This year we have applicants. We have from Africa, from Nigeria, and we have applicants from Azerbaijan. So from very different countries with different backgrounds, mostly with medical background students. This is very interesting international community, keeping in mind that, as I told, most of students are with different backgrounds, adding different origins. We have very interesting mix, and when we have seminars, we discuss various topics, including neuroethics. That raises very interesting discussions, because people from different countries, different backgrounds have very different attitudes, different opinions, and that's really fun to discuss these issues. This switch to English language, I think it was a really strong movement in the development of program. One more point which I want to stress is that we try not to limit this program to our local teachers, and we try to invite teachers from other institutions, including from other countries. So I don't know, it's not secret, I must say, that Milena is one of our teachers, and this is very important, and we are very happy for this, to have Milena among our teachers. We have teachers from other countries, and the current technologies enable this process. And as you know, we don't need physical presence. We can do it via Teams or Zoom. So this is what students like, because again, different people with different backgrounds from different countries, they present different culture. And that's what the university is meant for. It has to grow a person as a personality. I believe that this helps in this direction as well. So that's what I could say about this.
Thank you very much. What I see from what you just said and from what I know, first of all, you started this neurobiology program in 90s when many people didn't know about neuroscience. I remember mentioning that I'm joining neuroscience program and people were asking, what is this? At that time, you were anticipated in a way the future, that this is something that will become popular, something will grow, and you were building that program. Then you mentioned the course in animal sciences, and really it's very helpful. I remember taking that course, and you were saying that some people were mentioning it's too narrow niche. but you still persevered and you were maintaining this course until the future came when it was really, really needed. And then also English language. You decided that, yes, that's the future. This will help our program grow. And still there were difficulties. Some people maybe were not in agreement with that. However, you still were growing and making that change. So what helps you in situations like this to go through challenges but still persevere in something that you believe will be helpful, will be needed?
Well, I would say main point in this case is to believe in what you do. Because when you start something, in order to start something, to do something, first of all, you need to have idea. If we turn back to religion, it's saying that the beginning was war. Just to transform this saying, so to idea, it has to be clear idea. If you have this, next point is to be persistent, to believe in what you do and not to be frightened by challenges or by problems which come up naturally. If you do something, especially if you do something very new, it's very natural that not everybody is excited by this. That's natural that people have different minds. So you have to prove that you are right. Sometimes you didn't succeed in this, but sometimes you do. So it depends. It depends when you learn these skills by doing and learning, so to say. So yeah, I think idea and belief in what you do and persistence probably. You must believe in what you do. In my case, what helped me, I was really fascinated by neuro. I was very deep in this, and I felt a shortage of knowledge for myself because when I studied, there was no neuro program. I graduated from biology, so neuro it was just a small fraction of this. So I thought that it would be very nice to have this. Basically, I tried to construct this program according to some extent, to my own vision. What I felt is missing, it should be in program. I believe it helped because now we have, I would say, quite nice program. Definitely, it has room for improvement as any program. Every year we accept between 16 and 18 students, which is almost our physical limit. And it goes like this for 20 years. So I think this proves that this is vital program.
Absolutely. I can attest for that. Speaking about graduates, of course, over 20 years, as you said, with so many students, there are certain outcomes. Maybe you can tell a little bit who are the graduates, what do they do, what fields they're choosing, what professions.
Yeah, during these years, naturally, we have, if you calculate over 100 definitely graduates. All of them are doing something in their life. Generally, most of graduates still continue research career. And as I joke, this is for a long time. When you dive in, you see that it's some kind of addiction in this with neuroscience. So this is endless. So this is academic career, and I'm very happy to say that from our graduates, we have a few professors already. Some of them are working at our university, our department, which makes me extremely happy. And as I just repeat, one of them is Milena, and I hope that other people will grow up. Some of professors are growing up with their own PhD students. So next generation is growing up. I mean, process is going on. So this is academic career. Some people find themselves very interesting application areas in life. Just few of I could mention. One student is very fascinated in neuroethics. She took additional courses on this topic and she defended PhD thesis in neuroethics. And she, as we joke, is very deep in this field and she believes in future of this, which is naturally a very interesting future of this field. Another interesting in my mind direction is a student who found herself in neurocoaching. She defended a PhD in London, and she started her career as neurocoach. So she applies neuro knowledge where she is really strong, and she applies this knowledge to behavior, to how to teach people to behave in one or another way, how to solve problems, etc. And she established business in this area, and as far as I know, it's very successfully growing up. So it's quite new in my mind, quite unexpected. Another direction is artificial intelligence or neural networks, whatever you call, but generally AI I would call as a non-professional. So some people find themselves in this area, and some of them establish private companies, some of them join another companies, bigger companies, but this is area which I believe is expanding tremendously and has unlimited future. So it's nice that young people see this future and they try to fit into this right now, at the early beginning, I would say. So just few examples of that.
Thank you very much. I'm sure there are many more examples.
Absolutely.
I'm in love with this program. Also, I wanted to talk about one feature that I noticed when I was a student in the program. Whenever I would come with certain idea, I wanted to do evoke potentials, EEG, which were not available at that time in our department. And when other students would come to you with their ideas, you would make it seem that it's absolutely possible. Even if it wasn't right there at the moment, you said, oh, it's possible to study there, to read this, to do this. Yes, that's absolutely possible. What is that character trait that you have? How do you look at things that it makes a change in people's mind, in student minds, and makes what seemed to be impossible possible?
Well, it's difficult to talk about yourself. It should somebody else talk. But, well, it's my attitude that I would say I'm more pro-optimist than pro-pessimist. That's one point. Another point is that life is going on, developing, and I believe that possibilities are endless in our life. In our current situation, I mean, during last few tens of years, probably this applies for all sciences, but for neuro, definitely it's expanding, it's exploding, not expanding, it's exploding. And this is happening through worldwide distribution. So in addition to this, we have fantastic possibilities for student mobility. So joining this into one thing, I see a lot of possibilities. That's why when we talk with students about selection of topics, I always claim still in nowadays, I repeat the same text that don't limit yourself with your fantasy. Search what is interesting for you and we will help to find you ways to perform this. And if we can't do this at a department or university, there are other places, a lot of places through the world where you can go and you can run some experiments. For example, it's not our program, but from our bachelor program, almost every year our students are going to NASA, which some years ago it would sound like nonsense. Students from Lithuania, from tiny Lithuania, going to NASA. Where from? But our students turned out to be very strong because this is worldwide competition and they successfully win in this competition. So it just, you have to dream, you have to use your fantasy, don't stop it, and life is very interesting.
Thank you very much. I think this is very inspiring and supportive of new minds who are coming into this field. I also noticed that whenever I communicate with you, you answer to emails prompt. You always do what you said you will do. What helps you to be on schedule, to implement all these plans, all these ideas that you are coming with. Maybe you can share some tips for growing professionals who also want to be as effective as you are.
Few moments answering to this question. One is I would call probably like dualism, something like this. What this means? This means that if you do something, try to look at this from another side. I mean, if you, as you mentioned about reply to letters. So you send letter or you receive letter. Okay, you receive letter, but try to imagine person who send letter, how she is expecting for what your behavior is expecting, and would you like to behave the same way? Would you like another person behave like you behave? If you delay answer, would you like to be delayed as well? No, probably. You would expect to get answer right now. So why don't you do like this? And if you apply this rule, this ends up in some result, I would say. So that's one tip. Another point, more sad, is that everything has its own cost. In order to do more, you need more time. This means that in my case, I don't count working hours. I mean, it's definitely more than 8. That requires quite frequently weekends, holidays, etc., etc. But as I say, I don't complain because it's kind of a hobby what I am doing. I like what I'm doing, so I don't count hours, which is not good, I know, but that's how it is.
Thank you very much. It looks like you have a busy schedule. You work many hours. What is your approach to rest? How do you rest? Do you have certain hobbies? Some people on our podcast are climbing mountains. Some people are involved in art. They do contemporary dance. I noticed that each of our guests does something that helps them to revitalize, to rest. What would it be for you?
Well, there are some number of activities. I like to travel. It's not that activity which you can do every day, but I like it very much, and that helps to refresh yourself very much, and it broadens your mind. And I can talk a lot about positive outcome of this, definitely. On a more regular scale, well, I have some fun in working with wood and stone, some carving, some, as I say, some crazy things, but working with wood works very relaxing way, I would say, calming, meditating way, etc. During few last years, it happened so that I got involved in physical training like Tai Chi, Qigong, etc. And I found it very attractive and helpful, and that really helps. Well, I mean, generally physical activity, but on regular basis, which is, I think, is very important. Yeah, music, movies. I like very much to watch movies. So I try to take any chance. And books, definitely to read books. So yeah, the timetable is quite intense.
Yes, I can see that. How do you see your established neurobiology program in 10 years or maybe even in 20 years? As you have this tendency to anticipate how things will be developing in the future, maybe you can anticipate how the program will look like at that time.
First of all, I would believe it will be alive, still running. First of all, that's main point. If it's running, what I would expect is maybe increase, well, not increase in number of students, but networking, I would call. I would like very much if program would integrate more in some international networks. Now we are member of a network of European neuroscience schools, which is nice, but it's quite formal, I would say. And I would like integration into some more active network, let's call. with students exchange, maybe program exchange, etc. This is there is one more direction which we try, but not without any big success so far, must admit. But to expand this program, adding some biological psychology, let's call, because as we know, we have psychology field, which is fascinating, interesting, etc., and we have neuro. But psychology, well, it happens in brain, as we know. So why not to join these two things and to develop such interdisciplinary specialists to grow up? So I think this would be interesting. Maybe not a very high number of students, but at least some students which would like to specialize in this. Would be nice to create possibility for them to grow up in this direction. So these would be main points which I would like to see happening.
Thank you. What would you recommend to students who just received their bachelor's degree and they're thinking about doing something with neuro, but they don't know what? Where should they start?
That's difficult to say. One general option, which I believe, if you don't have any idea, probably it makes sense to spend 1 year working somewhere without studies, I mean, just to live real life and to grow up and set up your mind, so to say. It's very general, but talking with students, I have support that in many cases it really works. It helps. Another option is try to find out some information about this. And this is not that easy because information, as we know, is endless in this field. And if you open Google Neuro, it's terrible numbers and how to handle this. So there are a few options. Coming back to Lithuania, we work very much with schools, with pupils from schools. Work, I mean, we accept excursions which are coming to our life science center, we are coming to our department, and we are showing our labs, we are explaining what kind of experiments we are performing, why we are performing this, and I believe that this is really helpful. Another option, at least in Lithuania, gymnasium pupils or students, we are required recently to perform some projects, small but research projects. Again, we accept it. We don't have a big number, but few students we accepted to department. They tried themselves. They performed some experiments, and I am very happy that they joined our program. So it was worth. And the recent example, just today we agreed that one pupil from 12th grade, she is winner of Brain Bee Lithuanian Championship on Brain on neurosciences, which we are very happy. So she will spend summer in our lab and being in lab, watching what is real life. And we hope very much that this will help her to find out whether it's really interesting for her or not. So there are different ways. Another option is public lectures. Try to attend the public lectures. I believe that every country has some number of these lectures and events like Brain Awareness Week in March, which is going worldwide. This is a good option to have good start position for digging into neurosciences.
Thank you. Our podcast is called Neurocareers, Doing the Impossible. As your final suggestion, maybe to everybody who is dreaming of some career or maybe establishing a neurobiology program, neuroscience program at their university, what would be your suggestion of making that impossible goal possible?
Simple, believe in it. First of all, believe, and next, do it. Don't pay attention to problems, but just do it. That's it.
Believe in it and do it. Thank you very much. Thank you. The last, maybe you can share some contact information, how to learn about the program. Maybe there will be people who want to ask questions, how they can find this information.
So easiest way, if you write to me email. If you provide my email address, they can do this. I'll be happy to answer.
Wonderful. Yes, I will provide this in our podcast notes. Thank you very much, Professor Ruksenas. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope it's not the last time we are speaking. I hope we will have future podcasts that you also can join. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.